Namaste dosto, welcome back to part 4 of our Finance Complete series. Now in our last part, we talked all about the absolute essentials, setting up that emergency fund and mastering savings. But today we are going to understand the one massive thing that creates the biggest difference between common earners and the truly wealthy. We're talking about investment. What exactly is it and how does it make your money work for you? Let's get right into it.
So you might be wondering, what actually is the biggest difference between common people and the wealthy? Like, is it just a massive salary? Or maybe they just got really lucky? Well, actually, scratch that. It's none of those things. The real secret lies entirely in what they do with the money they earn. Literally, this one single habit can completely flip your financial future.
Section 1. Amir logon ka bada secret. Okay, let's dive into this and uncover what they're doing differently. Simply put, investment means putting your money in a place where it grows over time and earns more money for you. It's literally like hiring your cash as an employee, and its only job is to go out there and recruit more money. While you're sleeping, your money is working tirelessly for you. Look, if you're just saving money and letting it sit idle, inflation, mehengai, is slowly, silently decreasing its value. It's like a leaky bucket. But investing money? That's totally different. When invested right, your money keeps growing over time, effortlessly beating inflation. Savings is just standing water, guys, but investment is a flowing river.
Section 2, Amit or Suresh ki kahani. To really understand how this plays out, let's look at a super relatable story of two friends. Both of these guys were incredibly hardworking, and both started with the exact same capital, 1 lakh rupees. On day one, they were perfectly tied. But here is where their paths totally split. Amit took his money and just left it in a standard savings account. He was completely passive. Suresh, on the other hand, chose the right investments and built a regular investing habit. Suresh took control and became super active with his financial future. Fast forward 10 years. By year 10, Amit checks his account and sees just a tiny bit of growth, definitely not enough to keep up with rising prices. But Suresh's wealth has completely multiplied. That right there is the absolute magic of compounding in action. Same starting amount, completely different choices.
Moving on to Section 3, the ultimate wealth formula. How are the wealthy actually doing this? Well, they never just rely on a salary. They use this exact formula. Step 1, income. You bring the money in. Step 2, savings. You keep some of it. But, and this is absolutely crucial, you can't stop there. The money has to flow to Step 3, investment. Only then do you reach Step 4, true wealth. Savings alone will never, ever get you there.
Section 4. Investment kyun zaroori hai? Why is it an absolute must for every single one of us?
There are 3 massive real-life reasons. Number 1, to beat inflation so you can protect your purchasing power. Number 2, to build wealth, because we all want that long-term financial freedom, right? And number 3, future goals. We're talking about buying a house, funding your kids' education, having a stress-free retirement. These big dreams, they demand investments. Section 5, options or golden rule. So where can you actually put your money, and what's the ultimate rule for success? Here's a quick look at the most popular options. You've got your basic savings account and fixed deposits, or FDs. Then there's gold. And for higher growth, mutual funds, stocks, and real estate. But hey, keep in mind, the risk and return vary wildly for each of these, so you absolutely need to understand them before jumping in. And that brings us to the golden rule of investing. Start early and invest continuously. Even starting with a small amount is very powerful. Seriously, guys, starting small and staying consistent is way more important than waiting until you have a massive bank balance. Because this is the basic principle of compounding. Time and discipline are your investment's best friends. You've got to give it time to bake, and you've got to stay disciplined. Panic selling or stopping midway just totally kills the magic. So let's make this crystal clear before we wrap up. Saving money provides security. It's your safety net, but investing money creates wealth. It's your growth engine. You absolutely need both, but you have to know exactly what each one is doing for you. I'm going to leave you with this one huge, provocative question to think about today. Look at your own life and ask yourself, are you working for money, or is your money working for you? It might just be time to flip that script. Next time, we are going to dive deep into exactly how to do that. In Part 5, we'll uncover the secret of SIP and mutual funds. How to build big wealth from small investments. If you found this explainer helpful, definitely hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Milte hain Finance Complete Series K Part 5 May. See you there.
How does compound interest actually turn a tiny savings account into massive wealth over time? Most people think getting rich requires a huge salary, but true financial freedom happens when your money works for you. Let's take a single $10,000 investment and leave it completely alone. After year 1, that original money generates a small standard return. In year 2, your original money generates its usual return again, but last year's interest also generates its own tiny block of return. In these early years, this extra interest is mathematically tiny and feels slow, but accelerate the timeline and give this process a few decades. Those self-generating blocks multiply aggressively, completely dwarfing your starting amount. So, what exactly happens to that original $10,000 investment from the very beginning? It multiplies into a towering fortune entirely on autopilot, doing all the hard work for you.
Well, how do you actually define money? Most of us picture a physical currency, paper notes and metal coins. We see it as a reward, the prize we receive for trading decades of our lives. But treating money as an object to be collected misses its utility. Money is a tool. It is a mechanism designed to purchase choices, personal security, and most importantly, time. When you view a paycheck as a finish line rather than a starting point, you enter a cycle of working every day just to survive, without ever teaching your capital how to work for you. You can see this cycle in any modern city. Millions are caught in a relentless grind, continuously trading their limited hours to maintain baseline survival. This represents the first variable in the wealth equation, income. Generating income is necessary, but it has a limit. If active labor is your only source of cash flow, your survival depends entirely on your physical presence. If you stop working, the money stops flowing. Even a massive 6-figure salary fails to provide actual freedom if you have to clock in every day to maintain it. To build sustainable wealth, you have to push past this initial income stage and move toward the subsequent phases of the formula. Earning a paycheck is only step 1. If you fail to move your capital past this point, you will spend your entire life working for money, rather than having your money work for you. Moving through the mechanics of the equation requires following 2 strict rules. Rule 1. Earn more than you spend. Keeping expenses strictly below earnings creates a gap, activating the savings node. But beware lifestyle inflation. If expenses rise to match your new income, the gap disappears and savings instantly drop to 0. Building a foundation requires protecting the gap between what you make and spend. Once protected, apply Rule 2. Invest consistently. This acts as a catalyst, turning stagnant savings into active investment. The psychological habit of investing is more important than the initial sum. Systematically setting aside even 500 rupees a month is a powerful start compared to waiting years to invest a large amount. Cash sitting idle in a savings account slowly erodes. Your money only begins to generate power when it is pushed into the investment phase. It is worth asking how tiny, consistent deposits can realistically build enough wealth to replace a full-time job. The answer lies in our 3rd golden rule: make compounding your best friend. This chart displays the logic of compounding. Returns on initial capital generate their own earnings, creating an accelerating snowball effect. The crucial variable is time. Notice how the curve stays flat for years before shooting nearly vertical in later segments. By giving your capital time to grow, your investments begin to multiply on their own, requiring no physical labor from you. Compounding does the heavy lifting. It is the mechanism that transforms the act of investing into actual, tangible wealth. When you finally take a step back and zoom out from the daily mechanics of the grind, the destination becomes completely clear. Here is the completed sequence. You generate income, protect a gap to create savings, push that capital into investment, and let compounding build it into wealth. Completing this chain leads directly to the final state, financial freedom. Financial freedom is the moment your accumulated assets generate enough passive income to cover your living expenses, making your daily job optional. Executing this blueprint today, regardless of scale, ensures a future where your choices belong to you, not an employer. But knowing the math is only half the battle. How do the wealthy structure their day-to-day accounts to ensure the system functions? We will map out the exact mechanics of how to allocate your paycheck in part 2 of this series, budgeting and money management. Understanding this equation shifts you from being a lifelong employee of money to the employer of your wealth. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next step.
How does compound interest actually turn a tiny savings account into massive wealth over time? Most people think getting rich requires a huge salary, but true financial freedom happens when your money works for you. Let's take a single $10,000 investment and leave it completely alone. After year 1, that original money generates a small standard return. In year 2, your original money generates its usual return again, but last year's interest also generates its own tiny block of return. In these early years, this extra interest is mathematically tiny and feels slow, but accelerate the timeline and give this process a few decades. Those self-generating blocks multiply aggressively, completely dwarfing your starting amount. So, what exactly happens to that original $10,000 investment from the very beginning? It multiplies into a towering fortune entirely on autopilot, doing all the hard work for you.